Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing very, very well on this lovely Sunday. It is a beautiful morning in Northern California until the 80s, 50, 85, 90 degree weather hits later. And I have been having a very nice, relaxing weekend. I hope you guys have all been too. Quick shout out, yesterday I read a book in a day, which is very rare for me. The Incendiaries by R.O. Kwon. It is out on July 31st and it is freaking fantastic. I'll talk more about it in my wrap up, but I just want to put it out there because I'm still thinking about it and I finished it yesterday. But what are you coming today, Russell? What are you going to talk to us about today? Today I am going to make some recommendations for things for you guys to read over the summer. If you're going to the pool, if you're going to the beach, if you're going camping, you know, something just to take with you to get lost in. I'm going to try to go the gamut. I'm going to recommend some YA, some nonfiction, and some fiction, and we'll talk about them all as we go along. But I'm hoping to just put some stuff on your radar that maybe wasn't there. Some of it I have talked about before, so maybe you will remember that I've talked about it. One I'm going to just shamelessly plug, so there you go. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the YA book I'm recommending if you're looking for something over the summer, and that is Mosquitoland, or Mosquitoland, if you want to pronounce it correctly, by David Arnold. This is a book about a young girl. Her parents have gotten a divorce, and her dad has moved to California, and she has moved with him. And she hears that her mother is sick back in Ohio, so she gets on a Greyhound bus because she's going back. She's going back home. She's going back to her mother. And this is a story about all the people she meets along the way. As you guys who have ever ridden a bus across any distance can attest, there are always interesting characters. It's got that YA heart to it. What I appreciate about it is it's also got a lot, it just got feels. How's that sound? It's just got feels. This was recommended to me by the people at one of my local independent bookstores down in Santa Cruz, Bookshop Santa Cruz, and they always recommend amazing things. So that's Mosquitoland by David Arnold. I'm having a hard time talking today. I hope this gets better for your sake and for my sake. So there you go. So I'm going to recommend two nonfiction titles, two very different nonfiction titles. I don't know if any of you have read any Mary Roach, but you should. She writes sort of these nonfiction investigations. I think her first book was Stiff, which she followed cadavers through the US and the different things that happened with them. I'm recommending Packing from Mars, which is one of her later books, and it's the curious science of the life in the void. And in this book, she sort of goes through all the different things that you've never thought about when you think about people going into space. She talks about how they eat, how they train, how they get used to stuff, how they go to the bathroom. It is filled with interesting information, but also so much humor, very easy to get lost into. She just has a very comprehensively readable style, and it's fun. It's just super fun. And if you have read Packing to Mars and not Stiff, or she has a bunch of different books out, which I can't remember all the titles about, but I recommend any of them. And I am hopefully going to get to see her in a couple months. She's going to be coming to my area, so I'm super excited about that. Totally different nonfiction read, something that I haven't actually talked to you guys a lot about. I love nonfiction books where authors talk about books. Books that they've read, books that influence them, books about how they read, and so on and so forth. And this is a collection of essays. It's called A Truth Universally Acknowledged, 33 Great Writers on Why We Read Jane Austen. It was edited by Susan Carson, and it has a foreword by Harold Bloom. Now, I've read a lot of Harold Bloom. He is a critic, and he really influenced me to dive into the classics. But this book has essays from all sorts of different, very famous writers that I haven't heard of, throughout time, about why they should read Jane Austen. So there's essays by E.M. Forster, by Somerset Maugham, and then there's stuff by Eudora Welty in here. And then there's more modern writers as you go forward in time. Virginia Woolf is in here too, so that's really interesting. Anna Quinlan is in here, just to name a few. But it's a bunch of different writers talking about why they believe we should still be reading Jane Austen. And I agree. I think Jane Austen is fantastic. And so it's just a fun nonfiction read, and you can kind of buddy read it with your favorite Jane Austen if you so like. So that's A Truth Universally Acknowledged, 33 Great Writers on Why We Read Jane Austen, edited by Susannah, Carson. So I hope that sounds good. That's a different recommendation for me. I don't normally go that direction. So now we're going to do one fantasy novel before we get into the fiction. And I've talked about this book before, but A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent by Maria Brennan. Now, this is the first in a series. This is the story of Lady Trent, who becomes the world-renowned dragon expert in her time period. This is a little bit sort of Games of Thrones-y in that it has dragons, but it's set in a world that you're going to recognize most of the factors about because it's sort of like just a medieval world. It's told in the diary format of Lady Trent, which is amazing because you get to know her. And this is the first book, so it's before she's done all the work, how she gets there. And it's just easy to get lost into, like you're kind of on an adventure trek with this woman. And it's super fun, and I've heard the rest of them are also very good. This is the only one I've read, but it's a good light summer read where you can just sort of get involved and enjoy sort of the adventure aspect of a fantasy novel. So that's A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent, written by Maria Brennan. And that cover's pretty fantastic, don't you guys think? Okay. The next book I'm going to tell you about, I've already plugged 100,000 times. So I'm going to turn it into a giveaway. So I actually happen to have 2 copies of The Reluctant Fortune Teller by Keziah Frost. And in this book, I have told you guys, it's the story of Norbert Zelinka, and he is an older gentleman in a retirement community who is more or less coerced by 3 older women. Everything I'm loving, you guys know all of this is love, to turn into the local fortune teller by reading playing cards. It's got a lot of humor and a lot of adventure. It also has a very tough inner core message it's just really lovely. I highly recommend the book, and I highly recommend the audiobook. So I can recommend both of them. They're both very, very good. Here's how you enter the giveaway. Tell me down in the link and down below, what is your favorite summer read? Be subscribed to my channel. This will be open for 2 weeks from today, and I will send this book to you anywhere in the United States or Europe if you would like. Please enter, please be part of it, because I really think you guys will really love The Reluctant Fortune Teller by Keziah Frost. So funny, I always want to say The Reluctant Fundamentalist, which is a completely different book in so many ways, but for some reason when I say The Reluctant, that's what pops in my head. So this is The Reluctant Fortune Teller by Keziah Frost, and there's your giveaway. Okie dokie. So this is what I said as the shameless plug because I adore this book and I adore this author. But if you haven't read The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night by Jen Campbell, her short story collection, now is the time. It's out in paperback. Look at how beautiful this paperback is. This is sort of a retelling, new modern fairy tale tellings. It's so hard to categorize because there's so much that goes on. The stories are just involving. They're so much fun, and it's a great summer read. So if you're out by the pool and you want to just kind of pop in and out as you're getting in and out of the pool, or if you're going to read, in the morning with your coffee while you're sitting in a cabin in the woods, highly recommend this short story collection. It is just adorable, and in so many ways dark, and so many ways perfect. It's so good, you guys. Read The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night by Jen Campbell. It's out in paperback now. Now in the US, go to Book Depository if you can't get it. They do free shipping, and they can send it to you. I know it's sometimes hard when books are only published in the UK, but that is a great option and a good way to get a lot of really good books. So I have two more books that I'm going to recommend to you, and the last one is going to have a funny story because it's me, right? It's me. But the last, this book is The Perfect Comeback of Carolyn Jacobs by Matthew Dix. Now, Matthew Dix wrote a book I recommended on another video called Memoirs of an Imaginary Friend, which is fantastic, but is more heavy, and definitely not a book I would recommend if you're looking for lighthearted. But the comeback, The Perfect Comeback of Carolyn Jacobs is a little more humorous and has its own sort of darker heart, but it just is, it's really funny. This is about a mom who is at her daughter's PTA meeting, just gets fed up with the PTA, stands up and uses a curse word and sort of has a breakdown. And in doing so, she also comes to recognize that she has some unresolved issues from when she was in high school. So she goes back, she takes her daughter, and they go back so she can resolve those issues. That is all I'm going to tell you. It is a fun, easy romp. It is well written and engaging, and you will really like this. This is perfect for the pool. And Matthew Dix, if you don't know who he is a phenomenal writer. He's a third grade teacher. Follow him on anything you can. He's hilarious. Yeah, I highly recommend if you're looking for just something fun to read. There you go. The Perfect Comeback of Carolyn Jacobs by Matthew Dix. Now, you guys know that I do not read light and fluffy that much. So, if you are like me and you're like, Russell, I just want something dark and different to get involved in this summer. Something that will envelop me, but I don't need it to be happy and go lucky. I'm your man. You know I am. I'm going to recommend the third book I've recommended by John Williams, which is Augustus, a novel. This actually won the National Book Award, and it was his final novel. This is the story of Octavius Caesar. After Julius Caesar dies, he, as a young boy, becomes the ruler of the Roman Empire. Now, what's really cool about this is it's told in letters, so it's very epistolary, but it's also sort of like got memoirs or journals in it, and it's all the different people that are involved in this telling the story of this historical period. It is so good, you guys, and you will get lost, but there's no happy. This is not a happy book. We all know what goes on in this time period. It's not, you're not going to be feeling go lucky, but if you are looking for something to just get yourself lost into, I've read all of John Williams' books. I think he is probably one of my top 3 favorite writers of their entire collections, and this book is no exception. Highly recommend if you're looking for something like this. So, there you go. That is my 8 books for you to read over the summer. I hope one of these piques your interest. Remember, if you want to enter the giveaway, you just need to tell me down below what your favorite summer read is, what you would recommend to people, and then also make sure that you're subscribed to my channel. I will announce a winner in 2 weeks so that you guys can go ahead and pick up the amazing, where did I put it? The Reluctant Fortune Teller by Keziah Frost. There you go. Okie dokie. So as always, if you're a return subscriber, thank you so much. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you have a fantastic time on this video and you subscribe. Click that button down below. And as always, until next time, happy reading. Bye!